Wild Wind, the story of the brave wild horses. In the vast, open plains where the grass swayed in the breeze and the mountains touched the sky, there lived a herd of wild horses. The horses roamed free, galloping across the plains with the wind in their manes and the sun on their backs. Among the herd was a young, spirited horse named Wild Wind. Wild Wind was known for his speed, his courage, and his dream of leading his herd one day. Wild Wind had a sleek coat the color of a setting sun, and his strong legs could carry him faster than any other horse in the herd. He loved to run, feeling the earth beneath his hooves and the wind against his face. But there was something else that set Wild Wind apart, his curiosity. He always wondered what lay beyond the hills and rivers, and he longed to explore the world beyond their familiar plains. Wild Wind's parents, Storm and River, were the leaders of the herd. They were wise and strong, and they had taught Wild Wind everything he knew about surviving in the wild. But they were also cautious, warning him to stay close to the herd and avoid the dangers that lurked beyond the plains. "Remember, Wild Wind," Storm would say, "the plains are vast, but the world can be dangerous. You must always stay with the herd." But Wild Wind's heart yearned for adventure. He dreamed of exploring the mountains, racing through new valleys, and discovering the hidden wonders of the wild. One bright and breezy afternoon, while the herd was grazing peacefully, Wild Wind noticed something unusual in the distance. A strange sound echoed across the plains, and dark clouds began to gather on the horizon. The wind picked up, and Wild Wind's ears twitched with curiosity. Without thinking, Wild Wind galloped toward the sound, his hooves pounding the ground as he raced across the open fields. As he neared the edge of the plains, he spotted something he had never seen before. A massive storm was rolling in, with dark clouds swirling angrily in the sky. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed through the air, and Wild Wind realized the storm was headed straight for the herd. Panic set in as the wind howled and the sky darkened. Wild Wind knew he had to act quickly. He turned and galloped back toward the herd as fast as he could, his heart pounding with fear and determination. When he reached the others, Storm and River were already alert, their eyes scanning the sky. "A storm is coming," Wild Wind shouted. "We have to move the herd to higher ground." The older horses began to panic, but Storm remained calm. "Follow me," he called out, leading the herd toward the shelter of the nearby hills. But the storm was moving faster than they expected. The wind grew stronger, and rain began to pour down in sheets. The ground became slippery, and some of the younger horses struggled to keep up. Seeing this, Wild Wind knew he had to help. "I'll lead the young ones," he shouted over the howling wind. With his heart racing, Wild Wind gathered the younger horses and led them through the storm, his hooves steady and strong as he guided them to safety. The storm raged on for what felt like hours, but finally, the clouds began to clear, and the rain slowed to a gentle drizzle. The herd had made it safely to the hills, and Wild Wind stood at the front, his coat soaked but his spirit unbroken. "You were brave, Wild Wind," River said as she nuzzled her son proudly. "You helped save the herd." Storm nodded in agreement. "You showed great courage today. You're ready to lead the herd one day, just as you've always dreamed." Wild Wind's heart swelled with pride, but he knew the most important lesson he had learned wasn't just about being fast or brave. It was about working together as a herd, looking out for one another, and facing challenges with courage and strength. From that day on, Wild Wind became known as one of the bravest horses in the herd. He still dreamed of adventure, but he also knew the importance of staying with the herd and protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. And whenever the wind blew across the plains, Wild Wind would raise his head high and gallop with the wind, feeling the thrill of the wild in his heart, but always keeping his family close.